In today's society, depression and loneliness is at an all-time high. Despite the great technological advances, life has never been easier. Everything is at our fingertips, from entertainment to food, music, and games. And yet, depression is higher than ever. Nihilism has become the norm, and everyone is struggling to find what their life purpose is. Marcus Aurelius is a Roman emperor who had everything the world has to offer: status, money, women, and power. One could argue he was the most powerful man in the world. Anyone would kill to be in his position. And yet, despite all, he was different from everyone else. You see, Marcus believed that happiness doesn't come from external factors. He wasn't attached to his gifts. In fact, he wasn't afraid to lose everything. He believed that the only thing a man should fear is letting himself down. Marcus Aurelius ruled from 161 AD to 180. It was an age of peace and prosperity for the Roman Empire. He was known as one of the 5 good Roman emperors, and for good reason. The Roman emperors were known to be cruel, hedonistic, and tyrannical. Marcus didn't have an easy life. His father died when he was just 3, and he ended up being raised by his grandfather. From a young age, he was very passionate about boxing and wrestling, and even learned to fight in armor. He was educated at home, where one of his teachers, a painting master, introduced him to philosophy. He had a very challenging childhood, which laid the foundation for his philosophical journey. He even started sleeping on the floor, until his mother had convinced him to sleep in bed. It was during this time that he started practicing Stoicism. In fact, he was about to be declared emperor. He wasn't too happy about it at first. He found imperial office to be unappealing as a philosopher. But he understood that it was his duty, so he accepted. Under his rule, the Roman Empire had many conflicts, and he was very successful at defeating his enemies. But during all that, he was always working on himself, seeking to become the perfect man he could be. It was his true life goal, and that's why he wrote a life biography about himself, which is now a very popular book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. To understand how Marcus used Stoicism to combat depression, let's briefly explore the core tenets of this philosophy. Stoicism teaches that happiness comes from within, and it is achieved through self-control, virtue, and living with harmony with nature. It encourages individuals to focus on what they can control, accept, and what they cannot, and cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. Plants and animals like birds and bees go about their individual tasks and putting the world in order as best as they see fit. Even if it doesn't benefit them in any way, it still benefits their species and their role. And yet, you are not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? He asked himself. Human beings are so selfish. They wouldn't try doing anything that doesn't benefit others or their society if it doesn't benefit them. Marcus believed that nature and animals weren't created to do what they want, but to do what they are made for. Humans weren't born to gain wealth or power. They are made to be kind and virtuous, and to do what they must to improve the world. Marcus believed that the world had a lot of bad people, and there is nothing you can do about it. He even believed that people weren't inherently evil, they were just ignorant. And you can't always help them. You can't judge them, for how can you judge a thief who steals to feed his family? If you encounter a bad person, don't be angry at them. Reflect on yourself and remember that it is inevitable. And remember, evil only harms your soul if you in turn do evil back onto them. The noblest kind of retribution is not to become like your enemy. Don't pray for bad things not to happen. It is a fool's errand. Life will throw adversity at you. All you can do is control how you react to them. A wealthy man named Zeno was informed of a shipwreck. and that all his luggage had been sunk. He lost everything he owned. And all he said was, "Fortune bids me to be a less encumbered philosopher." Don't be sad about bad things. Act and endure and be grateful that you got an opportunity to learn and grow. And if life throws at you something you can't endure, remember, all men die, but not all men die whining. Yourself is the only thing you can control. You can't control what the world throws at you. You could lose a loved one, become in debt, homeless, lose everything you own. But you could always choose how you act, and that is your duty. Death is also a duty. Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you. Marcus believed that it is pointless to fear death. Worry about it. Instead, while you are alive, be kind, live to your full potential, and fulfill your duties. In Stoicism, the most important lesson, especially in modern age, is that pleasure does not mean happiness. All external stimuli is nothing more than a fleeting moment of pleasure. Happiness is more than that. It is a state of being that cannot be affected by status, money, or power. It is completely from within. In order to achieve happiness, you must live a life of virtue and be the best version of yourself. So, if you find yourself lost in life, without a purpose, just ask yourself, am I improving myself every day? Does my goal benefit society in any way? And does my goal conflict with my morals and conscience? After all, only true failure is letting yourself down by not living up to your potential. Greatness is your duty, and that is the cure to depression. Marcus Aurelius' life and teachings offer valuable insights into overcoming depression in the modern age. By embracing Stoicism, he was able to rise above the challenges of his time, and his wisdom continues to inspire countless individuals to this day. In a world where depression and loneliness are on the rise, perhaps it is time for us to take a page from the playbook of this ancient philosopher and find our own path to the inner peace and happiness. I hope you enjoyed this video. There are many influential figures and great men of history whose lives and philosophies have a lot to teach. My goal is to help you find your ideal role model and to learn how to live a better life.